It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft, joined as always by Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, happy Wednesday to you. We've made it to the halfway point, over the hump, and heading toward the back half of the week.
Absolutely, Tyler. Happy to be here per usual. Another day, another opportunity, and I don't take that for granted, especially with the week and what we've been through so far in the community. But we got positive things to talk about too. Let's go, Tyler.
Yeah, Wednesday night, the key story and our top story as we begin the program on this Thursday is the storms that came through much of southeastern Michigan on Wednesday afternoon and in the evening, causing significant damage across our local area, including a confirmed touchdown of a tornado in Livonia out just to our east in Wayne County. We'll have a little bit more on that later on in the program here, but the storm damage also affecting us here in the greater West Bloomfield area overnight. A Nixle alert sent out in the greater West Bloomfield area as a tree had fallen on Commerce Road right around Hiller and caused a road closure there from about 2:45 or so in the morning when that notification came out until just about 6 o'clock in the morning. A tree right across the street on Commerce on Commerce Road and Hiller. This picture we'll put up on your screen. There we go. That is from the Orchard Lake Police Department, who reported that early on this morning. The roadway has been cleared, and Commerce and Hiller are both reopened to regular traffic at this time. And for any further updates, we encourage you to visit the Facebook page of the Orchard Lake Police Department. Also a great place to go for more emergency information in the city of Orchard Lake Village. That is at Orchard Lake Police on Facebook. That road was cleared in partnership with Orchard Lake Police alongside West Bloomfield Police and the Road Commission for Oakland County. And of course, when we have storm activity, Kevin, we expect that to be something that's responded to by the Road Commission, particularly in the winter. But this time of the year, that storm damage can also be quite extensive. And so for that, we're going to bring in Craig Bryson from the Road Commission for Oakland County for a little bit more perspective on how they support our local communities when storm damage affects our roads. Craig, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, Tyler. Thank you.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this. Your team was involved in helping to clear Commerce Road in our community overnight as a tree had fallen down as a result of some of the storms and the damage from that storm on Wednesday. So let's get to it in this conversation. Like I said, mostly we think about response from the Road Commission on our roads after storm activity, particularly in the winter, clearing the snow and other debris. But you do quite extensive work also over the severe weather season in the spring and summer. What are some of the many ways that the Road Commission partners with our local communities for road-related situations after these storms?
Well, it can be anything from flooding to down trees to you name it. And we're on call 24/7. We do, as you mentioned, we do work closely with all the police departments all across the county. And in this case, we had crews out in various places all across, mostly the western and southern parts of the county, as well as in West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake area. And as soon as we know, we send crews out to start cleaning things up and get the roads open. Of course, our top priority is to open the roads and make sure everything is safe on the roads. So that's part of what we do year round, above and beyond snow clearing and salting in the winter.
And so when a situation arises like what happened overnight at Commerce and Hiller Road, where a tree falls, really, as we showed on the screen just a moment ago, straight across the road as that happened, and it requires an immediate response to clear the roadway, how does the Road Commission then spring into action? How is that notified, and what steps do you take as the Road Commission for Oakland County to support?
Well, typically, it's either a resident or a police department that contacts our 24-hour dispatch. Dispatch immediately notifies the superintendent or the foreman in charge of that area, who goes out, assesses the situation, determines if crew is needed, Sometimes, depending on the situation, that individual can clear it themselves, or they call in a crew. In extreme cases, we might need to get a contractor in to help out, but typically we'll get a forestry crew in a situation like that with chainsaws and just start cutting things up and clearing the road. Um, Typically, our crews can get there relatively quickly, but of course, the staff members have to come from their homes at that time in the morning and get out there and get it cleared as quickly as possible.
And how about on the other side, before we get into these storms, what sort of preparation does go into that for your team? As you said, some employees have to be, in some cases, called in to respond to these situations. So what sort of preparation goes into anticipating potential damage from these storms?
Well, first and foremost, we monitor the weather 365 days a year. We have our own weather forecasting service. We also closely watch the National Weather Service. So we have a pretty good idea when there's the potential for this kind of thing. Of course, that doesn't mean there's going to be a problem. And sometimes problems come along when there was no weather forecast suggesting there will be. But we don't have work crews on duty 24 hours. We have dispatch people on duty 24 hours a day, but all of our crews are on call. And the superintendents and foremen, the supervision folks, know that they need to be ready to go 24/7. They know how to mobilize their crews. They know who they're going to call. They just need to assess what type of work needs to be done, what equipment needs to be brought to the location, and they're very skilled at making those decisions. They're very good at jumping into action very quickly. That's why they take their road commission pickup trucks home with them, so they can immediately jump in their trucks, get out to the location, assess things, and get the required crews and equipment there as quickly as possible.
And you mentioned earlier on that in some of these cases, when storms come through, they do damage that affects our roadways. Sometimes it's our local police departments or other emergency services departments that do contact the Road Commission for Oakland County, but it also can be residents. So if a resident in the greater West Bloomfield area throughout the severe weather season notices an issue on the road, a tree has fallen, some debris blocking the lane, whatever the case may be, how should they go about reporting that to the Road Commission?
Right. They can, the best way to do it is call our 24-hour dispatch office. That's 877-858-4804. And we've got, as I said, we've got a dispatch person on duty around the clock. That person will identify where the issue is, identify the supervision person who is on call for that area, and immediately share the information with them. The supervision will take it from there, decide what's needed, and assess the situation. As I mentioned, this does happen year-round. It's not only winter activities. We have the same types of things sometimes happen with flooding. We'll have drainage problems that we get called in for, where we have, for example, a drainage structure that is clogged. We'll have to come in and clear that, or a tree down, that type of thing.
More information can be found on rcocweb.org or follow them on Facebook for more information and updates at RoadCom. And again, that phone number, if you want to report an issue, 877-858-4804. That is available on their website at rcocweb.org. Craig, before we let you go, anything else that our audience should be aware of as we're in now the thick of severe weather season and they think about that relationship between severe weather and our roads?
Yeah, just to reiterate what you said, I mean, we can't be everywhere all the time. We're not typically out on the roads very much in the middle of the night. So if something happens, we rely on the residents and the local police departments to be kind of the eyes and ears. And if you do see something that could be either a safety threat or blocking a road, please call that number and let us know as soon as possible, and we will respond as quickly as we can to it. So we appreciate the eyes and ears of the public, the police departments, local officials that are out there. That's a big help for us.
More information on rcocweb.org and Facebook at RoadCom, Road COMM. Craig, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. The Road Commission for Oakland County providing swift assistance to the West Bloomfield and Orchard Lake Police Departments early on this morning as a tree fell across the street on Commerce Road near Hiller in our community. That was notified via Nixle. I got the notification on my phone from Nixle at about 2:45 in the morning that the road had been closed, and by about 6 o'clock, just after 6 o'clock, it was reported to be back open. So Commerce Road and Hiller Road both back open for normal traffic at this time. You can always keep up to date again with all the latest road news from the Road Commission for Oakland County on their website at rcocweb.org. Kevin, we know that this damage in our local area, not as extensive in many other areas, but still that these storms can do a lot really quickly, and that evident by what happened overnight on Commerce.
It's very fortunate no one was hurt in when that tree fell. So I want to start off by saying that. But it also just reminds us, man, this is something that happens in Michigan. You know, we tend to get very bad storms, flooding. So it's just best that we try to be as proactive as possible to try to prepare for the worst in these situations. But thank goodness no one was hurt.
Yeah, weather.gov is a great resource. Weather.gov/DTX will get you directly to weather information for the Detroit area. You can go there, put in your specific zip code, and get even more updates there. We've had the National Weather Service serving the White Lake, Pontiac area, serving Detroit out of White Lake and Pontiac on our show many, many times. And that's especially important when we see these severe storms come in and we get those notifications of severe weather, because while we got lucky in our area that the worst that happened was a tree falling across a road and being cleared overnight, that was not the case in Livonia, where there was a confirmed touchdown of an EF1 tornado with winds between 90 and 95 miles per hour per the National Weather Service's regional station in White Lake. Extensive damage out there and even a death involved per the Detroit Free Press. A toddler was killed and their mom critically injured as a tree fell on their home overnight. Extensive damage, particularly in Livonia, where that had happened. Someone we know that is actually from Livonia saw some of that damage after that storm is our very own Jake Schaff, joining us now on the program. Jake, tell us a little bit about your experience last night after those storms ran through and what you saw in your hometown in Livonia.
Tyler, Kevin, good morning. Lot of damage lot of damage in the area. I live within walking distance of Rotary Park in Livonia. By the time I had gotten home, I think the worst of the storm had passed, but just driving by the park, you could see trees were falling everywhere. There was leaves, there was carnage, there was a lot of stuff was taped off, and there were these awnings with awnings at the park that were taped off and that had trees that had fallen on top of them, just absolutely destroying them. Lots of damage, and not great to see in any capacity.
Yeah, this was just out at the park. What were some of the conversations that you had with some of your neighbors out there and the other people about what they experienced of that storm in the area? Because from our conversations before we went on the air today, you had mentioned that for the bulk of this storm, you were simply on your way home, and it was after you arrived home that you went and assessed some of this damage.
Yeah, the bulk of the storm hit while I was on my way home, and the drive was not fun. It was torrential downpour. I almost had to pull over at one point. By the time I had gotten home and I was assessing the damage at Rotary Park, I was talking to a lot of the neighbors who were saying that they didn't have power, that trees were falling around their homes, and just devastated about the damage that was taking place at Rotary Park. Not to mention, Rotary Park is a very busy spot for graduations. And obviously, as this is June and it's graduation season, that means that there's going to be a lot of families scrambling for last minute plans that might have been planning to have their event at Rotary Park that now have to figure out another idea.
Well, Jake, we appreciate your work and your reporting on this, being on the scene last night to see some of the damage after this storm and to talk to some of the people. Our thoughts here in the greater West Bloomfield community are with your community out in Livonia as well. We appreciate your time and appreciate your work.
Thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate it, Jake. And again, the storm doing some damage in our local area, paling in comparison to what happened in Livonia, where there was a confirmed touchdown of a tornado during Wednesday's storm. So again, want to highly encourage you to keep up to date with your latest weather and emergency news and information. You can stay with us here in the greater West Bloomfield area for updates as we get them during the days. If anything does come up, we will provide that on our social media channels, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, Twitter at Civic Center TV, as well as, of course, on our website on civiccentertv.com. Kevin, a treacherous night across our local community, but as Jake had alluded to, good to see people coming together to help each other and immediately come together as a community. It also is what happened here in the greater West Bloomfield area, as we had lots of partnership happening to clear a local road and make sure the storm damage was as minimally invasive to our day-to-day life.
Absolutely. We can't take for granted the fact that we're all here able to do our job again, man, because we had to literally drive through that, So our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to all the families that were affected in the Livonia community and all the communities across the Metro Detroit area. We just hope we all come together, recover, and just continue to live a better life as a community. So it's unfortunate, but this is what happens with storms sometimes.
Safety always going to be paramount across everything that we do in our communities each and every day. That certainly is the case this week, as any time is the best time to think about firearm safety. Certainly as we recognize National Gun Storage Check Week, as reminded by our friends at the West Bloomfield Township Police Department. This week promotes responsible gun storage, in particular, making sure that your gun is stored away, your firearms are stored away properly in places that are safe, that only responsible owners and those that should be accessing those firearms can get to them. That helps prevent accidents, prevent thefts that can lead to investigations being mixed up or tragedies happening, and of course any self-harm or harm to others that may occur because of unnecessary access to these weapons. Make sure your firearms are, of course, in a safe location, out of reach of children or others who should not have access to it. And a great way to make sure that your weapons are not going to be accessed by those that should not be accessing them is to pick up a gun lock. They are provided, Kevin, for free at our local police departments, including at the West Bloomfield Police Headquarters in the Town Hall Complex. They reminded us of that with this post and this image you're seeing on your screen on civiccentertv.com. On their Facebook page, you can learn even more information about gun safety and get in contact with the West Bloomfield Police Department on Facebook. That is facebook.com/West Bloomfield PD. Really important information, Kevin, to understand all throughout the year, but especially as we recognize National Gun Storage Check Week.
Absolutely. And you should only really tell the people who should know where it is. Other than that, it should not be a wide known thing within the household, period. So make sure it is locked up. I have a gun lock myself. I actually have a locked storage box also for it. So and I keep it somewhere that my son has no ability to reach. So absolutely 100% important to make sure that you have your firearm safely stored.
Yeah, keeping that in mind could save a life in your home and outside your home. Really important information from our friends at the West Bloomfield Police Department. If you are looking for work and you want to help the community keep safe, you can do that with the West Bloomfield Police Department. They are currently looking to hire a senior police records clerk for a 40-hour per week position. Your tasks will include some of the most important work being done behind the scenes in our local police department, maintaining police records under state law, researching and compiling info for Freedom of Information Act or FOIA requests, as well as processing some billing, including monthly false alarm bills and more. Full information on this is available on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Police Department, as well as on wbtownship.org/jobs, where you can apply for this position now through next week, Thursday. One more week to apply for this. Thursday, June 13th is the deadline. Again, that is on wbtownship.org/jobs. The next Sylvan Lake Veterans Coffee event is coming up, Kevin. This has become a fan favorite in our community. They just last month celebrated their 24th meeting, 2 years of meeting each and every month to get veterans together in the prettiest little city in Michigan and from surrounding areas as well. They go to various coffee shops and other businesses in the Sylvan Lake Community Center to bring these veterans together. They have set their date for the month of June. It will be next week, Tuesday, June 11th at 9:30 a.m. at Dunkin' Donuts in Keego Harbor. All veterans are welcome to attend for some coffee, some donuts, and, of course, some friendly conversation with fellow veterans from across the various services and across the generations. Really is a great time, Kevin. There's always a great turnout there and so many smiling faces, happy to see one another. If people want to get involved, they should RSVP through Kelly Krause. Her info can be found in the Sylvan Lake What's Going On Facebook page and Facebook group, as well as in the Sokeego Facebook group, where they have advertised for this event, Kevin. And we've seen so much footage of this over the past couple of months and over the past couple of years as they've been doing these events. It's a great way to build a community of veterans in our local area.
You know, we are advocates for creating safe spaces for people with like-minded mentalities and things of that nature. So absolutely, especially for our veterans, those who serve our country, completely understand it. So great job to the community for putting things like this together and keeping it going 2 years running. Great thing to have for our veterans.
That is certainly the case, and you can always keep up to date on what's going on in the city of Sylvan Lake, other fun events, including some events for our veterans and across our communities in the prettiest little city on their website, sylvanlake.org. Kevin, it is a really fun time of the year for people to get out on the water and enjoy some local events. That includes some events that happen on boats and other watercraft. And there's a really special occasion coming up where a local business will be out on our local waterways at Pine Lake Marina, previewing some of the latest and greatest watercraft and giving people a fun ride out on the water.
You said it, Tyler. You pretty much set it up. This is the Pine Lake Marina Ride and Drive event, and it's actually going to be put on by the Action Water Sports team locally. So join us on the Splash to talk a lot about this event. We have Jathan Cucci, marketing team leader for Action Water Sports. Now, Jathan, can you just tell us about this Ride and Drive event coming up at Pine Lake Marina, please?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you live in Michigan, it's kind of in your blood to love boating and be on the water. So every summer we try and bring that opportunity to people, especially in the West Bloomfield area and that Oakland County area. There's so many lakes. When you grow up, you learn to love the water. So for us, we have a few surf boats, we have a few pontoons that we're going to bring to the marina. Along the docks, we're going to line it up. Our staff's going to be there to have some fun. Our captains are going to be there to be able to show you the boats, drive around, experience them. So it's really like it's a community event where you can test drive the boats, have some fun, and get to know our team a little bit.
Nice. Okay, you gave me a mouthful, Jathan, so I want to kind of break some things down here. Are we essentially introducing some new boats to the area that we want to kind of get people familiar with? Can you talk about these boats a little bit more detail?
Yeah, for sure. So we love Pine Lake, first off. Pine Lake's kind of out in our backyard. It's our hometown. So for us, we Mastercraft specifically is the surf boat company that we partner with. And then Crest Pontoons is our pontoon partner as well. So these partners, they're not new to Pine Lake. We certainly have tons of customers in that area, which is one of the reasons why we chose. So it's a way for our customers to get together too, because who doesn't like to be with like-minded people on a night like the ride and drive night? So
nice. So overall, let's just paint the picture. What can we overall expect? I see that we have, and you correct me if I'm wrong, free food and drinks as well that you all are providing. We talking about are we talking about free rides? What do you have to do to get the ride? Let's just paint that picture a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. So what we like to tell people, it's from 5 to 9. So there's time slots that you have to RSVP for. So we do ask that you RSVP ahead of time so we know that you're coming, and we kind of schedule captains accordingly to the boats. And then I would say from there, you get to pick which boat you want to be on. If you're more of a pontoon family or more of a surf boat family, you got to get to your spot and allocate your slots selectively from there. And then as far as drinks and food, we're gonna have some snacks. We're gonna have the coolers full of water and pop and other things that you can enjoy as well. And the goal is that from start to finish, you show up, we take care of you, you learn how to what the boat is like. If you've ever wanted to experience, maybe you're in the market for purchasing one, but you've never found the time and never found the convenience, this is the perfect opportunity to be able to go and get on the boat, no strings attached, and have some fun.
That's a great point too. Take some time out just to dissect it a little bit more, ask some questions, do the test driving like we said also. Join us right here on the Splash Live, marketing team leader for Action Water Sports. We have Jathan Cucci talking about the Ride and Drive event at Pine Lake Marina, which is coming up June 12th, if I'm saying that correct?
Yes. Yep. 5 to 9.
5 to 9, June 12th. Perfect. So there's a system, if I'm not mistaken, the Surf Star system also that's incorporated with these boats. Can you talk? Do you have more detail on that? How does that make these boats unique?
Yeah, so surf boats, they all have surf devices in the back of the boats that create the waves and the wakes behind the boat. And so Mastercraft's exclusive system is called the Surf Star Surf System. And really what those systems allow is the boats fill up with water to create ballast. And then once the boats fill up with water, the devices deploy in the back of the boat in a very safe manner. And then the speed sets to a certain speed. And then from there, the wave is able to get created. And I think everybody's grown up tubing. They've grown up water skiing. They've grown up wakeboarding. And wake surfing is kind of that next water sport that's really taken off in Michigan, where you can safely surf behind the boat, 10, 12 miles an hour. It's low impact for a guy like me, who my bones are pretty much, broken, my joints. I like a nice, easy ride. It's perfect for a guy like myself. So that's the Surf Star system in a nutshell.
Perfect. Thank you for that information, Jathan, man. Great. A lot of great things going on. But let's get into the, I guess we can say, serious part of it. Since we're talking about boating, we're talking about water, we have to talk about safety. What is your team doing to ensure safety throughout this entire event?
Yeah, absolutely. So safety is our number one priority. And it always has and always will be at Air Action. So everybody's going to be wearing, in the boat, there's going to be a number of life jackets that are Coast Guard certified, approved in the boat. Boat's going to have everything that it's going to need for safety checks, fire extinguisher. All of our captains are certified and insured. And then from there, we're at the registrations on the boat to be able to operate the boat safely as well. And then our captains are providing expert coaching as well on how to drive the boat. So you're essentially sitting there in the boat with a captain, and they're walking you through all the way to how to activate the Surf Star Surf System to how to drive the boat. And we're as hands-on as we need to be in that area. So overall safety, top concern for us.
Yeah. Full experience with the professionals there, the life jackets and everything. I wanted you to reiterate that so any and everybody watching and listening knows that safety comes first with these types of events. Also, great information right there. So with this event specifically, I would assume this isn't your first, but how do you feel like this specific event ties into the core values, the missions of Action Water Sports?
Yeah, I love that question. That's great. I think so. Our motto is bringing families together. So from the very start of our business being created, we believe boating is bigger than ourselves. Boating to us truly brings families together on the water. It's that one true place where you can get off your cell phones and just enjoy each other and in each other's company and watch people behind the boat and just have some fun and have some drinks and food. So for us, we feel it's our responsibility as a dealership to really bring that into the communities. And so not everybody has access to, be able to go for a test drive at all hours of the day, et cetera. So for us, we want to be able to partner with a place like Pine Lake Marina, bring some boats that's, no obligation. I mean, no strings attached, if you will, and be able to have some fun in the local community. So that is what we feel our responsibility is, and that's how it ties to the mission of bringing families together.
Man, that was beautiful. That was well said right there, Jathan. Overall, like you said, bringing families together out on that water, peace, serenity, great time soaking up the sun. And there you go, doing free events like this to make that happen. Jathan, I appreciate your time. Last, before we go, give out some more details about the event, how people can join, participate, whatever the case, register, and any other additional
Yeah.
information that you want to give out.
Yeah. So if this event is interested to you, you've always wanted to get on a boat and see if this is for you and your family, head over to our website, actionwater.com, and then go to our events tab from there. You can see this event as well as all the other events we're doing in your area as well. So actionwater.com, head over to our events tab, and then that will be where the RSVP page will be.
Hey, Jathan, man, I'm just smiling ear to ear. I'm excited for it myself, man. If I can take the time out, trust me, you will see me there. Thank you again. We have marketing team leader for Action Water Sports, Jathan Cucci, join us on the Splash Live. We appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yes, once again, thank you, Jathan, for a great interview. Just talking about their great event at Pine Lake Marina that will be happening very soon. As a matter of fact, pull up the actual information. But you can find out more information, actionwater.com. Jathan, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Now, we do want to essentially slide into more things that are going on specifically today in the West Bloomfield community. We are celebrating National Gardening Exercise Day, a good opportunity of kind of combining gardening as well as physical activity. So join us here on the Splash Live to talk about gardening and then physical health when it comes to that. We have creative director from Glorious Gardens, Shannon Highland, joining us on the Splash. Thank you so much for joining us, Shannon.
Hi.
Hey, so we're talking about combining physical activity and gardening at the same time. And obviously, with you being the creative director for Glorious Gardens, you actually have a little bit of the vision for how you want to kind of do things, but you also have to do the physical work to kind of get that done. So can you just talk about combining your vision with the physical labor of gardening and what you all do?
Yeah, of course. So gardening, especially in these warm summer days like we've been experiencing this week, is very labor intensive, but you can combine it. You can have the exercise at any level. So if you want to just do a little bit or a lot, that's a great thing about gardening. So some of the things that we do that help our everyday and what we do for exercise is we carry a lot of heavy plants, flats of flowers, trays of flowers, big tropicals. We carry bags of soil. So you really have to kind of prepare yourself and prepare your day. So if I'm going to a job and I need to bring 5 bags of soil, I need to mentally be able to and physically be able to carry those things. And I will tell you, you work up a sweat gardening. It's no light feat. So yeah.
No, I completely get it too. So it's a whole thing. Like it's not just as simple as just digging a hole and planting and going from there. You see what I'm saying? So you actually know the work, and it's not even once you finish it like it's done. There's maintenance that's required also. So can you just talk about how you actually plan it out so that it requires, I guess, as minimal maintenance and as minimal work after the initial work is done?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of the gardens that we design them for people who don't want to, either they can't do the physical
Mm.
part or maybe they just want to do a little bit. So we try and set up our clients up for success. We'll put watering bags around newly planted trees. That way all they have to do is just go fill up the watering bag. They don't have to sit up there and water all day long. If we're putting containers on their patio, we try and move them around for them. So at the end of the season, all they have to do is empty them. And for things like perennials, we try to use plants and perennials that don't require a lot of maintenance, and just at the end of the season cut them down. So for other clients who want to be more involved, we can do that, but we try to always do it for people who, a lot of people, if you're hiring a professional gardener, a lot of the times you don't know what you want to do and you don't really have any interest in gardening. So you might want it to look good, but you don't want to be sitting there and babysitting your plants all day long. That's where we
Got
come
it.
in.
No, I get. So
Yeah.
let's look at the other side of the spectrum with that. For the people who do want that type of gardening area or that landscape where they do have to kind of maintain it and be a part of it on a daily or frequent. Can you just talk about what kind of gardening or what type of I don't know assets kind of go into them actually maintaining it on a frequent,
Yeah.
like what type of plants or whatever the case may be, I guess.
So we have a lot of people who, a big thing, obviously, right now is a lot of people, especially during the 2020 COVID lockdown, a lot of people want to get into vegetable gardening. So since then, we've set up dozens and dozens of vegetable gardens for people, and we can do them on any scale. But that's
Mm.
something that we can set up and do the big stuff. You know, we bring the soil, we bring the planters, the raised beds, and then every day you can go out and water, you can deadhead, you can trim. Those are things that, it might seem like light work, but it's heavy work when you're out there every day trimming and you're making sure things are growing right and you're trellising your tomatoes and your cucumbers. And then also we do cut flowers. So we do dahlias and zinnias. And that's something that people can maintain every day. They can look at them, they make sure they're growing right, bring them inside and enjoy them in the house too.
Yep. Keep you active, keep you going, give you and it
Mhm.
keeps keep your house looking good. The neighborhood, the community
Yeah.
brings the value up. I mean, we're talking about a lot. So, but joining us right here on the Splash Live, Shannon Highland, creative director for Glorious Gardens, talking about National Garden Exercise Day, a unique combination of gardening and physical activity. Which, yes, if you are active in your garden or or the landscape, then yes, it does require some type of physical activity.
Hmm.
But with us being here in Michigan, Shannon, let's be real. We don't have sunshine year round, right? So we do
Correct.
get to those months where you're not necessarily planting flowers and things like that. So how does Glorious Gardens approach the concept of year-round landscape and gardening beauty within Michigan throughout the seasons?
Yeah, so we always say, my mom, who's the owner of Glorious Gardens, always tells everybody summers are very sweet, but they're very short in Michigan. So a lot of the things that we do that make sure you can enjoy your garden is we like to plant a variety of perennials, some that will bloom spring, summer, fall, even into late fall. You know, you're blooming into October and November. We also have a lot of evergreens that we plant and ornamental trees that not necessarily is going to give you the color and the flowers that you want to see in the middle of the winter, but it gives your garden some structure. Some, if you want to decorate for Christmas, you can hang Christmas lights on it. If you don't, you just want to enjoy the natural beauty of winter, you can have the snowfall. And we also do a lot of seasonal containers. That's a great way to up your garden game for all 4 seasons. So you can do spring with pansies, you can do your summer tropicals, fall, you can do mums and kales and pumpkin. And in the winter, you can just do some winter greens, some lights, some decorative sticks, and you have something to look at for all 4 seasons, because we can be honest, those hard months in January and February are hard to get through in Michigan sometimes.
Yes. No, no, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, it's good to know that just because we're going through the winter, you don't necessarily have to have a black kind of like landscape
Hmm.
or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. There are some things that you can do to kind of spruce it up a little bit. So I can get that. Are there any other key elements that you kind of incorporate with your gardening or things like that kind of put your signature touch
Yeah.
on things, or any common concepts or requests from clients or things of that nature?
Yeah, so we have a lot of requests for people who want something that's blooming all 4 seasons, and that's a little hard to do. So we try and choose perennials that go into the garden that are going to bloom from early May to, like I said, the end of October, early November. So
Right.
we do a lot of perennials. We like to use a common catmint, which is called Nepeta Walker's Low. That brings you bloom for about a month and a half. We use Allium Millennium, which blooms later in the season. Those are two of our iron plants, and I know based in West Bloomfield, a lot of people have deer issue. Their deer don't eat either of those plants. So we use those all the time. So those are kind of staples for us. Another thing that we
Ah,
like to do that's kind of sets us apart is we like
Yeah,
to incorporate tropicals in unexpected ways in the garden. So in the summer, I know, for instance, my mom's house, she brings in tropical bananas and just tucks them into the garden. And it's just something else and different to look at. It's not just, your everyday run of the mill landscape. It's just a pop of color and something different. And people stop and ask questions all the time about them. So we like to just do little kind of surprises. And it can just even be as simple as putting them in a planter in the ground or on your stairs. And it's just something else to look at. And it's not just boring, same flowers that every other neighbor on your block has.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
we appreciate your time again for being here, Shannon. Before we go, can you just speak one last time to your thoughts on incorporating this physical activity with your gardening, and then just give out any additional information that you want to give to the West Bloomfield community?
Yeah. So one thing that I would say is exercising in the garden you can definitely get your exercise in, but it's also great for your mental exercise. It's great to get outside and listen to the birds, listen to the bees, listen just the sound of the wind, have some sunshine on your face. Obviously, we always use our nice skincare protection, but it's great to have that vitamin D, the sunshine outside. So it's not only good for your physical health, being outside and, carrying plants and squatting down and trimming and things like that. Don't forget that it's also great for your mental health, because I can tell you I feel a lot better in the summer than I do in the winter sometimes.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Well, Sammy,
All
Yeah.
right.
if she wants to.
Shannon, thank you so much. Shannon Highland, Creative Director for Glorious Gardens, join us on the Splash Live talking about National
Thank you for
Gardening
having me.
Exercise. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great information to talk about. When you think about it, yes, it makes sense. You incorporate gardening, you incorporate physical activity, you incorporate nature, the sun, especially during great weather, Tyler. That makes a great combination for mental and physical health, as well as making great aesthetics for your home and community.
I mean, gardening's not easy physically. When you're out there, you're lifting bags of mulch or a fertilizer, or just moving up and down from the ground level to plant these plants and move things around. It is a physical activity, but like Shannon said, it's also a great activity to get your mind engaged, to relax yourself, get your mind off of other things that are stressing you out in life, and spend some time in the beautiful outdoors. Like she said, we only get so much time during our 365 days a year where it's really nice outside throughout our communities with that bright sunshine. So thank her for joining us on National Gardening Exercise Day as she and her business continue to serve families across southeastern Michigan, including here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We'll take a quick break and come back with more news, information, and fun events happening across our 4 communities.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
One scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
When the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
I'm relying on luck, but who knows if it'll be on my side.
When it comes to disasters and emergencies, it's not a matter of if, but when. Take control. 1. Assess your needs. 2. Make a plan. 3. Engage your support network. Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Bringing you stories and memories from Sylvan Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to the Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Kevin McIntosh as we continue to have a beautiful season here in the greater West Bloomfield area. So many celebrations of late, Kevin, including a big anniversary for one of our local church communities, Orchard Lake Community Church Presbyterian, celebrating 150 years of service to the West Bloomfield area. And joining us to talk about the 150th anniversary, all their celebrations, and the ways that this community continues to serve greater West Bloomfield is the pastor of Orchard Lake Community Church Presbyterian, the Reverend Dr. Richard LePayne on the Splash Live. Reverend LePayne, thank you for joining us today. And I want to start off by congratulating your community on 150 years and just kind of get a sense of what the celebration's been like so far as your community recognizes 150 years of this congregation.
Well, we have a lot planned for this summer, but I wanted to mention to you just the sparkling history of our congregation. It goes back, honestly, to the foundation days of West Bloomfield Township and the Orchard Lake community. It all started back on Apple Island, which is the centerpiece of the Orchard Lake. Back in that day in the 1850s and 60s, there was a Christian couple, Colin and Carolyn Campbell, who vacationed in the summer months and held Vespers each evening in their home on Apple Island. But the population, of course, the attraction of this community, the attraction of the Lakes region here in West Bloomfield Township, continued to grow. The people from the Detroit metropolitan area wanted to enjoy the summer months out here, and so they moved out to the Orchard Lake area to West Bloomfield Township. And eventually, a state senator by the name of Peter Dow donated the property on the banks of the Orchard Lake that became known as the Church of the Wildwood, Church in the Wildwood, and that now is the Orchard Lake Community Church Presbyterian that we enjoy today after 150 years of mission and ministry in our region. I think it's interesting that back in that day in 1874, when the very first church service was held here, the Orchard Lake Church was constructed for what was then a princely sum of about $3,000 in 1874, which is a lot of money back then. We held our first church service on July 18th of that year. The governor of Michigan attended, all sorts of dignitaries and hundreds of guests. And now today, the legacy of the Orchard Lake Community Church stands on the solid foundation of sacrifice by all those who have gone before us. There were a couple of hotels back on Orchard Lake in that day and age in the late 1800s, and oftentimes the visitors at the hotel, who would be vacationers from the city and from the region, would ride the Pride of the Lake, which was a small steamboat on Orchard Lake, operated on the lake, and they would come over on Sunday morning and share worship in the Orchard Lake Chapel back in those days. The founders of the church, Colin and Carolyn Campbell, had a daughter who was here for many years. She, in fact, was here for the 50th anniversary of the church, and she said her quote was, "Gifts material and spiritual have been showered upon this little white chapel. God has given us more than we can ask or think." And that is certainly the case, and we celebrate all that has come before us today to make our church what it is today, 150 years after its founding.
And it's not only been building your church's community, your congregation over that 150 years that has been such an important role, but continuing, as you said, those connections to the community. You mentioned the connection to Apple Island and that continued connection throughout the years, growing from that 50th anniversary to continue branching out to various areas of our community. So today, 150 years later, in 2024, how does the Orchard Lake Community Church serve our community today?
Well, so many people in West Bloomfield Township have attended the Orchard Lake Community Church Presbyterian for a wedding or memorial service. They recall the gorgeous view of the Orchard Lake that we enjoy here at the church. Today, in fact, on this day that we're recording, we are hosting the West Bloomfield Newcomers Luncheon in our Lakeview area. And we open the doors of our church to numerous community groups for gatherings and anniversaries and other events to take advantage of our stunning views here at the lake and the warm hospitality of the church. There are so many members of our congregation who are very actively engaged in the community through the school board at West Bloomfield, through the local city council here in Orchard Lake, scouting programs throughout the region. We have a lakeside coffee house on a quarterly basis. We welcome and feature contemporary artists who share their music. But the Orchard Lake Community Church, at the heart of our church, is the mission that we are engaged in, mission efforts focused on those persons in need in our community. We offer support and often have many volunteers participate in the Big Family of Michigan, the back to school supplies and clothing closet in Pontiac for the students there. We help with Grace Centers of Hope, the prison fellowship in the Detroit area, with Freedom House and Hope Against Trafficking. Waterford Meals on Wheels has benefited from our generous donations. Area food pantries, summer cereal for disadvantaged kids, and so many more charitable groups that are close to home here in the Orchard Lake area. There is a wonderful group I wanted to mention, as skilled ladies in our congregation that make quilts and quillos for children experience crisis transitions in the South Oakland shelter, and another talented team of folks here at the church who make beautiful prayer shawls that we hand deliver to persons who are experiencing grief and trauma. But we're not limited just to our area, that internationally, Our congregation offers support and has sent workers to the Crane Center in Uganda, to Shupil, Mexico on many occasions, medical intervention in Chad, in Africa, uh, throughout Honduras and the Philippines. And in fact, continuing this summer, we have a group of folks from the church who will be traveling to Copper Hill, Tennessee for a mission trip to aid volunteering with hands-on simple home repairs. While we're there, we're also going to go whitewater rafting, of course. We like to have a lot of fun. On July 21st, we will be celebrating, and we have a very active plan for this summer. In fact, on Saturday, June 22nd, I wanted to mention the whole community is invited to watch the fireworks over Orchard Lake here at the church. We invite you to bring a lawn chair and some snacks and relax at the lakefront. Enjoy the fireworks from our beautiful location. That's Saturday, June 22nd here at Orchard Lake. We have Vacation Bible School coming up in June from the 24th to the 27th. Our children and family youth director here at the church has a great week planned. And even if those students have never been here, the students from local elementary schools are all invited to participate. And then on Friday, September 13th, the Orchard Lake Church is going to host a very special Christian youth event featured a celebrated artist named DJ Code. Our church is actually well known for the excellence in music that we enjoy each week and the wonderful concerts that the Orchard Lake Community Church continues to provide for the entire area. Under the guidance of our music director and organist, Bruce Snyder, we have the Messiah. We have, along with a local orchestra, we perform the Requiem for the Living by Dan Forrest. In the spring, again, with local professional musicians, some of whom are from the West Bloomfield Township area, who share their wonderful musical gifts here with the church and our entire church community. Five Lakes Silver Band has provided fun Christmas programs over the years for the church, and all of our wonderful music programs are, of course, open to the public. And here at the church, we do enjoy wonderful music. We have gifted musicians who will sing and play handbells and any number of instruments to express our faith in Christ and our joy in worshiping together. I also wanted to mention our faith community nurse here at the Orchard Lake Community Church will host a blood drive in August to benefit the West Bloomfield Township area, a flu vaccination clinic in September. And there's so many wonderful things going on here at the church that I invite all in the public who have not yet been here to look us up and participate in anything that interests you.
You can find more information on all that's going on at Orchard Lake Community Church Presbyterian on their website, olccp.com. You can also follow along on Facebook and see all the memories being made in progress, facebook.com/olccp as well. We're joined by their pastor, Richard LePayne, on today's edition of the Splash Live as Orchard Lake Community Church Presbyterian celebrates 150 years of service in our community. And you had mentioned earlier on, Pastor, that 150 years of service. The church has had various roles in our community, serves various roles in our community today, and those have changed over the years. And the role of religion, whether it's Christianity or Judaism or Islam or any other, has also changed over that 150 years and across various faiths. So in 2024, what do you believe is the overlaying role of faith in our society, and what purpose or what positive purpose can that serve for people, whether they're super religious or they just want to experience some sense of a community?
Well, I think all of the wonderful question, I think people have seen from these surveys and after experience the COVID era, the danger of being apart from others, the danger of not being a part of a community, the distress, the anxiety that people experience through everyday living, certainly, but certainly when we are separated from one another. And a community of faith like our church, like the Orchard Lake Community Church, our community of faith provides such a foundational element for people's life and lifestyles. To be together, to support one another, to gather our resources in support of the West Bloomfield Township area and the entire region in which we live and serve. coming up on July 21st will be our big celebration at 10 a.m. And part of that celebration on July 21st is the fact that we have done so much for the community and been so blessed by this community as members of the community have been a part of the church and shared their wonderful gifts and ideas and their desire to serve others with us, and has allowed this church to find so many ways to serve others, truly for the benefit of all as a community of faith. And I think that they're critical places that people often, choose to ignore, sadly, these days, to not be a part, to take the time out of their schedule to enter into a community of faith. And I pray that more and more people will return and be a part of us or other communities of faith where they find that level of comfort and a means to express their love for our Creator and Lord. But on July 21st, we certainly look forward to welcoming all sorts of folks. We're having dignitaries, and at 10 a.m., there'll even be bagpipes in celebration of the Scottish heritage of our church and the ringing of the church bell to celebrate all that we have accomplished and all that we look forward to accomplishing as a local church in the West Bloomfield Township area.
150 years of Orchard Lake Community Church Presbyterian. Again, the celebration Sunday, July 21st at 10 a.m. at their location on Commerce Road in West Bloomfield Township. Keep up to date. Learn more about everything going on in their community at olccp.com or Facebook at olccp. Pastor, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It's a privilege to talk to you today.
Always happy to talk with our friends at Orchard Lake Community Church Presbyterian as we continue the celebration of 150 years of that congregation in our community, impacting us in a number of different ways beyond their religious services. Kevin and Reverend LePain showing us a number of examples, explain a number of examples of the ways that they get out in the community and support all areas of Greater West Bloomfield.
150 years. It's a great thing to celebrate within the community of, celebrating unity, congregation, and it, just camaraderie. So great thing that, Pastor LePain has going on, and great tradition that they've been carrying on. Congratulations on 150 years, though.
A big accomplishment for them, and a lot of smiles brought over those 150 years to our community. Who doesn't like some good music, Kevin? And you add in some tasty donuts. I would presume anybody else that is a no to the good music is going to be a yes to attending the Spirit of Sylvan himself, Christian Mikey's third annual cupcake concert that's happening on July 1st in the city of Sylvan Lake. This is going to be a concert that he's held for a couple of years now, and bringing it back, looking for musicians for this concert on July 1st, whether you want to play 1, 2, 3, or even some more songs. The call for musicians is open as we speak. So if you're interested in performing, go to the Sylvan Lake What's Going On Facebook page, and you can get in contact with his mom, Jennifer, who is helping to arrange the concert alongside her son, Christian, who's recognizable from the, of course, Still Sunsets concert series, where he served as the MC for the past several years, and he recently was awarded a Michigan Week Award for his efforts as well. Of course, Kevin, people can always keep up to date on Sylvan Lake events coming up at the community center and beyond on sylvanlake.org. Sounds like a fun night with some tasty treats coming up in the prettiest little city in Michigan.
So you had me right at cupcake. I love cupcakes. I'm not going to lie to you. So cupcakes and music, great combination. It seems like it's going to be a great time, Tyler.
Yeah, that indeed it does. And Christian, a very spirited young man that helps to inspire a lot of fun time and a lot of smiles at these concerts all throughout the summer season. So sylvanlake.org, place to go for more information on concerts happening across the prettiest little city in Michigan all summer long. Well, we're having a lot of fun here, Kevin. Time has flown by. That is it for today's edition of the Splash Live. I want to thank everybody that joined us on the program today, and a big thank you as always to our crew, Calvin Brown and Jake Schaff. For Kevin McIntosh, I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanks for tuning in to the Splash Live.